complex algorithm.
Exactly, yeah. So
Super complex algorithm.
right. So it's all integrated, synchronized fashion. The whole universe is literally breathing.
Yeah.
It's like taking a deep breath in and out, and whole universe is breathing along with you. So when you realize all that, your ego, your personal small ego loses its value, because you are the same way integrated 100% with the surrounding consciousness. So the meditation is the process to make you realize that. And when that happens, your ego drops, your doership drops, and when the doership drops, observership starts. Then you become nothing but an observer of the whole universe rather than a doer. Then I want to do this, I want to do this. All these things loses its value. And then you become an observer of the whole beautiful experience that you can go through. So first thing we decided is not to fight with the mind. So whatever thoughts arise in meditation, you accept them as it is, 100%. And so we don't want to condemn or praise the mind. If the mind does good thoughts, we become very happy. If the mind makes bad thoughts, we become unhappy. So we're not going to do that either. So during meditation, one thing we have to do is not fight with the mind, that why the thoughts are coming, this and that, because that itself becomes an action. So then, and every action needs an actor, so you become a doer. And that frustration will never go away. And in that, samadhi never happens. So first thing we need to do is do not fight with the mind. So the second thing is not to take an opinion about the mind, whether it's good or bad. So we have to come out of the goodness and the badness, because everything is relative. Whatever may seem good right now may be bad later on, and vice versa. So again, mind takes the sides. That is the job of the mind, is to create the duality, deal with the duality, pick the good over the bad, this and that and all that. So that is the journey of the mind. But if we start taking the sides of the mind also, that oh, this is good, this is bad, we haven't left the mind. We are still in the mind. So we should stop condemning the mind. So whatever thoughts comes in are totally acceptable. When we try to force our mind, that's when the problems comes, right? So, and then at a very subtle level, we should also give up the ideas about what we want in life. Like we wish it was something like this, for example. Like we are meditating and somebody had told you that, oh, he has done this and he has done that. And now you're sitting there, oh, I'm so down on the dumps, I still cannot do this, I have not done this. I wish my mind was a little more at peace so that I can be at peace, this and that. So now you're flying away from what is the present into the future. That, oh, I wish that these things will happen. So if you are at the body level, you want to sit at peace in a very comfortable position. That's one thing. Now at the thought level, you want to break away from the mind. You just become an observer of the mind instead of condemning or praising the mind. And a very, very subtle level, which at a higher intellect level, which gives you ideas and thoughts and creativity and all that, is going higher than a basic mind. At that level also you want to rest. That you're not going to try to create any ideas that which direction my mind should be going, my life should be going, nothing like this. For the time when you sit down to meditate, you really want at a total peace. So that's what basically we talked about, that you really want to be dead to the world. Because a dead person cannot change anything in the world. You cannot make a decision whether something is good or bad. And it cannot definitely think about the world, how the world should be behaving. So our doership starts with all these ideas. What is good, what is bad, what should be done in the world, whether China should attack America or not, or vice versa.
Right.
All those things, we come up with all these things and we creating problems for ourselves. In the sense, our mind is never at rest and never at peace. So once we do all these things, then our doership starts. and it's almost instantaneous. When your doership drops, the observership starts, and now you are aligning yourself with the consciousness, because consciousness is the ultimate entity that is observing the whole universe. So by being an observer, you're aligning yourself with Paramatma. So it's like opening up a window and the light of the sun will automatically come in. You don't have to go and start the fire in the sun itself. Sun is always shining. So inside, your soul is always throwing the light of consciousness. And that consciousness light is full of awareness, full of vitality, full of creativity, all these things. Because a lot of times people ask, right, that when you don't do anything, then you're going to be passive. It's not going to happen. Because if it is done the meditation in a very conscious fashion, and you're really done honestly and sincerely, the creativity within you will come out. You know, when you people sit and do nothing, they are actually doing nothing. So they are a doer of doing nothing. Because they think, oh, Guruji told me that I don't have to do anything. So, but that's a wrong interpretation and wrong understanding. So if the meditation is done very intelligently and very, very sincerely and honestly, you will really realize that so much creativity is going to flow out of you.
Yeah, you're working twice as hard.
Twice as hard, actually, because that's what the consciousness has done. Imagine all these beautiful things which are created outside.
Yeah.
The consciousness has created for all these years without anybody, any animal or any plant's input into that. Right? If a flower decides that I want to be, or a leaf decide I want to be a flower, that never happens. Leaf is meant to be a leaf, and a flower is meant to be a flower. But the key thing is, so when you are happy in your own situation, at every single piece that is created by the consciousness is contributing ultimately for further creations. Even a tiny leaf is gathering the solar energy and feeding the energy to the plant so plant can survive and plant can make more flowers and the fruits and whatnot. So every single piece of universe, a tiny fraction, is contributing in one way or the other for the grand scheme of the consciousness that is creating and performing all the time. So when you just bring yourself and get rid of the ego, you will be going along with that scheme. It's just not going to happen that you're going to sit in a corner and do nothing, you know. So the thing is that the life, if you really reflect on all these things, that so many things contribute towards your existence, towards what you speak, towards what you write, what you think. All these things are fed from this many, many angles into you. And of course your existence depends upon the food, the water, the shelter, the sunlight, all this rhythm of life. So when all this thing is contributing for your own existence even, you start realizing that my so-called ego has really no value. So if someone goes into meditation and realizes all these things, and the ego drops, the consciousness starts shining and really starts coming out full force. At that time, he cannot say that I did it, because it will be again a controversial thing. Because if you say you are not a doer, and then you go into meditation and you go into the higher states of meditation, and when you really enjoy the existence, the pleasures of the samadhi, you cannot say that I did it, because by that time I didn't exist. So it's like an oxymoron thing. So one time he said he did this. So people who say that I did this and I did this, that again, he has not reached the state of meditation. It happened, yes, but it was not performed or acted upon. So that's what, there are very subtle things we have to realize that. And when that happens and when the Paramatma shines through you, the thing is that the total understanding of the heaving and breathing this universe with cosmic energy that is flowing through you, it's not easy to explain to someone, to put it in so many words. Instead of that, it's easy to just call it God. And that's what God is about. All the fanciful things which are created in the names of gods is all ridiculous. So that's what has been the mistake of a lot of religious leaders. God in one word is easy, yes, but at the same time it gives a very wrong ideas to the people. That's why Buddha always said that he didn't believe in God. And the same thing in Jainism also, they don't believe in God. Because he knew that once I tell them the concept of God, they're going to go look for a personified image of a God and try to look for it and this and that. That journey will never end.
Localize the universe.
Right, exactly. So when you realize that there is no God to look for, the God is beyond our sensory experiences. God can be experienced. He cannot be found. You cannot go and shake hands with God. So all these ideas were totally wrong creations, and for thousands of years people have been running after the wrong, in the wrong direction. And that's why we have to realize that coming face to face with this experience and the consciousness, the energy, and when you feel the energy, that's the real experience with the God. There is no way you're going to ever figure out God. Because to figure out God, you're going to have to use your senses, which is again, He is behind the senses. He is the experience itself. So that's all you can have is your interaction with the feeling and experience of the samadhi. That's as close as you're going to get. So when the meditation being an attitude rather than an action, when the attitude is something you can do everything with that attitude in life, right? So whatever you do in life, if you keep that attitude in the mind all the time, meaning all that consciousness is feeding into me for me to perform, for me to do these actions, this and that ultimately, if you win, it's not your winning, it's that consciousness winning. If you lose, it's not your loss, it's the consciousness's loss. So all these things can be transferred. So now you're free from the results of the actions. So what is left is the action itself becomes the joy. And you consider yourself lucky to be a part of this grand scheme, which is you are a part of it and you're flowing with that. The consciousness, the energy and everything is flowing through you for certain action to be performed, for which the results have nothing to do with you. Winning is His, losing is His, so you have nothing to do with it. So you walk around with 24/7 with that attitude. Literally, it's an action that never ends. Because if you realize in a finite world, if you start an action, there is a finite time that it will last. It will deal with certain objects which has a finite shape, size, and then at the end there will be a reward, which is also will be a finite. The reward has to be seen whether you have $1 bills in your hands or you got the car you wanted or whatever. So everything is finite. But when you develop an attitude of aligning yourself with the consciousness, it's a 24/7 attitude. So when the attitude is there, it's a permanent action, because attitude can be infinite, because there is no dimension to the attitude. Attitude is bhav, vichar and kriya. Bhav, vichar and kriya. Vichar is thoughts, kriya is the action. Thoughts and action are about the finite world. But bhav can be infinite, right? So any so-called action done with the infinite thing in your mind also can last forever. So basically every action that you do, you will be doing meditatively. So the angle of doing the action will be totally different, right? So it's a 24/7 action of whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter. So action that never ends, the results of the actions are never expected, never going to come in the first place. So you basically remain in the active mode, and that's the beauty of working out in the outside universe meditatively. So when you do it meditatively, then you have a permanent action. So basically you are offering everything to the consciousness. All the results of your actions, all the rewards of your action, all the failures of the actions are all transferred to Paramatma. And that's what in Gita Krishna says, that you do all the actions but offer everything to me. You take responsibility from your shoulders away. So you are not a doer anymore. So there is a beautiful slok. It says, Mai sarvani karmani. Mai sarvani karmani means, sarvani means all. Karmani means all the actions. Mai, offer it to me, right? Give it to me. Mai sarvani karmani, offer all your deeds to me. Sanyasya adhyatma chetasa. Sanyasya. Sanyasya means you surrender completely. With what? With adhyatma, consciousness. Chetasa is the fully established in the knowledge of self. Once you acquire the knowledge of the self through the meditation, and you remain in that state of consciousness, full alertness and full awareness that this is all consciousness and nothing else, right? So there is no me, there is no mind, there is no ego, there is nothing. So do all the actions offering it to me and take the sannyasa. Not sannyasa is not a physical sannyasa, is a spiritual sannyasa where you taking yourself away from the action, taking yourself away from the results of the action, and then you doing with a continuous awareness of the existence of the self. So they say, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa. Chetasa is the awareness. Adhyatma is the higher knowledge of the self. So you remain aware of that consciousness all the time. Nirasir nirmamo bhutva. Bhutva is a being, a person. Nirasir means that you do not desire for any gain. So nir asir. And nir mamo. Mamo means the doership. So you are not the doer, and you are not going to be looking for the gains. So a person should act that way. And yuddhasva vigata jvaraha. Yuddhasva. Get involved in the yuddha that you're fighting. Yuddha is our daily life that we have to fight. And do not back up from it. This is a very subtle message. Now just because Arjuna happened to be an archer and it looks like he's involved in the war, does not mean Krishna is saying that go and fight the war all the time. The traditional war that we understand is not the war he's talking about. He says every single action that you're doing in this world is equivalent to the war. So when you realize all these things, and if you cannot get involved with your doership or the gains from your actions, you're going to be in the state of Arjuna all the time. Baffled, confused, should I do this, should I not do that? And look how much energy and the potential that Arjuna had lost, was losing right in front of Krishna by not able to fight. And that's exactly what we're really facing all the time. A lot of times people have capacity to do a lot of things, but we waste our energy in all these thoughts about the ownership of the action. Oh, I am the doer. So when I fail, I am the sufferer. I curse myself. I blame myself. I didn't do this. I'm sorry. I this and that. And then one bad act goes in a bad direction. Then for months and months and months and years, we keep on cursing ourselves. Or the gains that we want to do this, we want to do this, we want to achieve this and that. 1 out of 100 things you get, 99 you don't get. One that you got is not important anymore. 99 keeps on bothering you, that I didn't do this, I couldn't do this, I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. So all this stems from the fact that you are not nirmamo. Nirmamo is you have to become non-recognition of yourself, as an ego rather. So they say, Mai sarvani karmani, offer all the deeds to me. How? Sanyasya adhyatma chetasa. So take the sannyas, take the surrender completely to me. With that, and this is not Krishna who is the shepherd boy. He's talking about his own consciousness form, which is infinite. And to surrender everything to the infinite should not be difficult. because we are all finite in our traditional material way. But when we offer it to the infinite level, infinite is able to absorb everything, because it's the final creator of the whole universe, is the infinite consciousness, right? So Krishna is talking at a much higher pedestal than his own physical humanly figure. So Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasa Nirasir Nirmamo Bhutva. So do not expect any gains, and do not, become the proprietor of being, that I am the doer. And then fight the war of life. Yuddhasva Vigata Jwaraha. Jwaraha means grief. Vigata means without. So fight the war without grief. There is no grief, there is no gain, there is no gain in the world, there is no loss in the world. All the losses are his, all the gains are his. You have nothing to do with this. You just have to be here.